the Director of Marketing and Advertising here, and certainly want to take just a brief moment here to thank everybody that took time out of their day to come and join this webinar on why you need an insurance website and social media in 2015. Before I get started, I'm just going to give a quick overview of URL and who we are for those that may not be familiar. URL is an insurance marketing brokerage based in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We do work with agents all over the country. We have 4 distinct divisions, as you can see here on our homepage. Annuity Solutions, it's headed by Joe Corio, and Maria and Tony both work with him in that department. We have our Health Plan Options division, which does major medical, individual health, voluntary group products, group major medical, supplemental products, those kinds of things, and that's headed by Christy and Deb and their support team. Also, our Life Markets division, headed by Steve Clemens, and Matt and Rose and Rachel all in that department, and they obviously focus on the life products, final expense, index ULs, term life, and the lot. And then we also have our Senior Care Products division, headed by Karen McDaniel and Alyssa and Janine there in her department. And they do all our Medicare Advantage, Part D stuff, supplements, ancillary products, long-term care, those kinds of things. Like I said, URL, we are a full-service brokerage based here in Central PA. We have agents and agencies we work with all over the country, including banks, associations, financial advisors, anybody with the insurance license, and we've been doing it for almost 30 years. We do like to have these webinars from time to time with our partner Ken French at Benefit Store. URL pretty early on realized the value of social media, and you know, we use it to connect with our agents that work with us, and you can see down here on the right side of my screen is links to our Facebook, our LinkedIn, Twitter, Google+, YouTube channel, those kinds of things. But we feel that maybe even who has more of an advantage of using social media would be agents who are working directly with consumers. I mean, we work directly with agents and try and connect with them as much as possible. But we really think that the real value is when agents are able to utilize social media and websites and bring that. And you know, part of what we do is provide good service and good products and support, and part of that support is helping you sell. And that's why we work with people like Ken that can bring these things that are out of our realm that we can't do in-house, that we work with professionals like Ken that can kind of do this. So Ken's going to kind of run the webinar here today. I'm going to chime in a little bit later with some actions that you can take immediately to start using social media for business-to-consumer sales, and some kind of new thoughts on maybe if you have some fear of social media and some, you know, a different way to think about it, so it's not as scary as it can kind of be for some people, because it's not scary. It's a great tool to use. So with that, I will hand the screen over to Ken, and there you go, Ken. You should be able to take it away.
Okay. I assume I have audio here.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay. All right, guys. So what we're going to do today is go through kind of 3 different key things. One, we're going to talk about websites, really for you, your insurance agency. We're going to go through really what other agents are doing, specifically with a lot of the products you guys are selling. And I'm going to try to show you some examples and try to give you some ideas and concepts that hopefully you can implement yourself. Then we're going to talk real quick about what the carriers are doing. And I think a lot of agents are really surprised on how far the carriers have come, specifically with technology that can, you know, help you enroll your clients, help your clients quote your products, maybe help educate your clients. We'll go through all that kind of stuff. And then we're going to really talk about the social media aspect, which, you know, in the end is all part of the same puzzle. You know, it always starts with you have a website, you have all this great technology on there, and then how do you get people there? And social media, you know, is usually the answer there. It's how you drive people to your site. So we'll talk about social media, get a little bit more in depth. And most specifically, I'm hoping to kind of show you what other agents are doing. And I think that's always the most refreshing wake-up call to people that maybe have ignored it for a long time. You start to see what your competition is doing, usually motivates you real quick. And then the last few minutes of the webinar, I am going to go through my services and just review our custom website design services and our social media management services for those of you that understand the importance of social media but just maybe don't have the time to do it. So the thing I always like to say is just like before, it's a really big puzzle, technology. And, at the end of the day, you have to understand that it's 2015, and there are now a lot of pieces to the puzzle. Whereas maybe back in 1998, you had a website and you were way ahead of everybody, and that was kind of the only piece to the puzzle. Well, in 2015, there's kind of quite a few pieces. The website is still the biggest piece, but really what your website should be doing now today for you is it should kind of be organizing all the other pieces that you have. And again, I'll kind of show you an example here in a second and try to explain what I'm talking about. But in general, I don't think, hopefully we don't have to convince you to have a website. Hopefully either most of you guys have one or you're in the, you're thinking about getting one. But in 2015, why would you have a website? Well, obviously it improves your credibility. It's a place where you can tell your story, hopefully have some testimonials on there. I mean, if you're selling Medicare, final expense, life insurance, in the past I've always heard, well, I don't need a website. My clients are too old to use the Internet. I honestly don't believe that anymore. I think a lot of baby boomers are definitely using the Internet, and they're definitely very skeptical of insurance professionals. So it becomes very important to have this website that brings you some credibility. Again, it tells your story. You have some testimonials. Maybe you have some videos, educational material that certainly can let people know what you're doing and kind of review your services a lot quicker. So let me kind of quickly just pull up an example here. And this guy, this is an example of an independent agent. He sells mostly Medicare, individual medical, and a lot of supplemental products like critical illness, accident, final expense. And, obviously, like I said, the website kind of brings it all together, tells the consumer what he does, has his social media presence here. But most importantly, the client can go in, read some testimonials from actual clients, go and see where he's licensed, what states. He's even got it set up so that if someone clicks on Nevada, his actual license opens up. Again, the thing I'm always very concerned about is that, you get into the insurance industry, you start to become, successful to some extent, and I think what starts to happen to everyone is you forget what the consumer perception is. And once you start to get a website and you start to try to market your services, you have to do a really good job at having a consistent story across the board when you start to market. And I guess my point is that the consumer is automatically skeptical of you. You're an insurance agent. In my opinion, you're no different than, Joe, the, electrician, or, the normal contractor. And I'm sorry if I'm rambling here, guys, but I guess where I'm going is I'm actually redesigning my bathroom, my master bathroom. And, of course, it's a pain in the neck, and it's never ending. But what am I doing? Well, I'm constantly getting new contractors to come in to do the different aspects of the job, right? You got to have the guy who does the tile. You have to have the plumber. You have to have the electrician. You got to have the finisher who's doing the molding. And my point is I'm kind of doing research, trying to find guys and bringing them in. And make no mistake, I'm very concerned about anyone I'm talking to. I'm assuming, because they're contractors, that they're probably going to take my money and not finish the job. Why? Because that's how everyone thinks of contractors, right? They're typecast like that. So where I'm going with this is, in my opinion, a lot of people think the same about insurance agents, right? They come and go. They're fly-by-night. They promise you one thing. They're trying to sell you another thing. Now, I've been in the insurance business for almost 20 years. I get it. I've worked with agents for a long time. 95% of the agents in the business are absolutely not like that. But it's that 5% that have ruined it for everyone. So my point is if you go and you're meeting somebody or you're doing some prospecting, in 2015, I think you have to have a website. If someone says, well, I appreciate you explaining your services, I'd like to look at your website, maybe with my wife to get a deeper look at what you do, and you tell those people, well, I don't have a website, to me that's a red flag. That's an immediate red flag. This guy doesn't have a website. Why doesn't he have a website? Can he not afford one? Is he out of business? Is he really even an insurance agent? So my point is when you're building your website, you want to have things like this that increase your credibility. I mean, this simple page, like I said, it's got the guy's licenses. It just shows a lot of validity that, okay, this guy's legit. He's got testimonials. He's got states that he's licensed in. Look, he's got a whole consumer resource section, where I can go and get more information about healthcare reform. I can watch this video on healthcare reform. It explains it. It's just about putting all the pieces together. On top of that, the guy's got social media where you can go take a look at his page. Obviously, people have left testimonials here. It's just his story is starting to add up is where I'm getting at. And that becomes kind of the foundational thought process to having a website. It's about telling your story, whether it's just you working out of your basement or whether you have 15 employees and you're a large agency. It's about having that consistent story, having all the pieces to the puzzle in one place, and obviously having a place where people can go to really learn about the other products that you sell. So hopefully you can get a cross sale or increase the amount of sales you're going to make. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. The next thing I want to really focus on is the carrier aspect. And I'll let Jim chime in here in a few minutes, but it doesn't matter if you're selling life insurance, Medicare, health insurance, voluntary products, property and casualty. Over the last 5 years, the technology in these product lines has, it's been developed and grown incredibly. So, if you're a P&C agency, I just wanted to kind of show an example of an agency we've designed a site for. And, one of the things they have on their site under client resources is they have a really nice page where people can go and file a claim, make a payment, request a certificate. So if I click on the Make a Payment page, all of their carrier partners now let their clients go onto a portal and make the payment. And, in my opinion, the consumer wants that kind of stuff. That makes their life easier. Most importantly, it makes the insurance agency's life easier. Instead of having to get the information and do it for them, the client can come right to this page, click on American Collectors, and go right into the payment portal on their site and certainly make it, make the payment right online. And in my opinion, that's an agency that's ahead of the curve, right? They're understanding that these carriers are developing this technology and they're trying to utilize the technology. Now, if you're more of a life and health agent, I just wanted to show you this guy's site because he's kind of intense. But long story short, he basically has every piece of technology you could ever have on this one page. But I think it's a good example for today's webinar. So if I click on some of these portals like accident insurance, you can see all of his online enrollment portals for accident insurance, where the consumer could go in here, click on GAC, quote and buy, and go right into the portal that GAC has developed. The consumer can quote it, and they can purchase it right off here, and he's going to get credit if there's a sale. Obviously, accident insurance, critical illness insurance, cancer insurance. He even has his P&C products on here to generate leads. Of course, the individual health insurance. I mean, look how many carriers now offer off-exchange enrollment right online. My point is do you have to become some sort of e-commerce broker? Absolutely not. No, I'm not telling you that's the case. But what I am telling you is it's good to understand what the carriers are developing. And maybe having some of this stuff on your website saves you a little time, makes you a little bit more efficient. This guy may be a bad example because he's got 1 million products on here. But I think the normal guy may have 4 or 5 products on his site, maybe like dental insurance, travel insurance, where, yeah, you get a call once in a while about it. The commission is not very good, so you don't want to spend too much time trying to sell it. But you can always just refer those people to your website. They can quote it and buy it right off the site. But more importantly, hopefully they're exposed to other products that you're selling, right? So, I mean, that's kind of, if we go back to that first slide I was talking about, it's understanding that your website's supposed to be multi-purposed. It's supposed to be designed, it's supposed to be custom built. It's supposed to be designed around the way you do business so that it makes your life easier. Maybe it's having videos about annuities or Medicare, having those resources on there so your clients can go back and watch those videos after you've talked to them. Maybe it's having enrollment tools like dental insurance that you just don't have the time to sell, but you can refer people there and they can do it themselves. And it's just a simple product that they can figure out. You know, in the end, or like I said, maybe it's having the customer service tools like to make a payment or file claim, or just having a fillable form. You know, maybe you're selling employee benefits and the company's adding employees to the census and you just want to have a form that these people can fill out on your site instead of you having to fax a sheet to them and wasting time. To me, thinking about all those things are what the top agents are doing today. They're comprehending all that stuff. They're realizing that their website is going to make them more efficient. It's going to give them ways to save time. And, you know, for those of you guys who are in specifically the health insurance industry, let's face it, commissions are going down. So you have to figure out a way to either sell more or become more efficient to stay profitable. So that being said, I went through a few of these products, but I'm just going to kind of bring Jim back on because I know URL actually offers life insurance quoting portals for both, you know, term insurance and final expense. They even have Medicare portals for supplemental products and whatnot. So I'm just going to bring Jim on, let him kind of just review real quick how that stuff works. And certainly that's stuff that we can build into your website. So anyway, Jim, why don't you kind of give a quick overview?
Thanks, Ken. I'm going to take back control real quick because I have a couple of these up just to show them real quick. I'm not going to get too in the weeds on it. So I'm going to bring this up here. So what we're looking at on our page right now is our Life Markets Quoting Tools page. And this is a page that is for agents to come to that work with us so they can run a, you know, a term life UL quote, a final expense. There's a custom kind of form here for that. And then some of these tools that we provide for agents to use, also the companies that provide them to us also have a forward-facing consumer version of this quoting tool. And I'll show you, well, this one here is just our normal term quoting tool that an agent would use to go in here and run quotes for a client. But there's also a version of this that you could have on your site. So a consumer could come, they could go through, they could run the numbers. Some of these things get confusing, and ultimately they're probably going to want to talk to a professional like you to make the final decision. But this at least enables them to kind of see some numbers and see what's out there. We have this final expense quoting tool that you see up on the screen here. It's just a little widget that could be embedded into your website wherever, you know, on your life insurance page, on the home page. And there's even kind of more in depth that comes with this. It kind of gives you a microsite that kind of works with the quoting tool. It could just be this little plug-in, or it kind of gives you can use these videos, and those could be, you know, plugged into a site that kind of Ken would help out with. I didn't bring it up, but we do have let me just bring this up real quick. Our Medicare, it quotes Advantage and supplement plans, and you may have seen something like this before. But something like this, you know, you can go in, you can quote Advantage plans side by side, and this technology is available not just for agents that work with us, but agents that want to put it on their own websites so consumers can come there, run quotes, and essentially it either is going to generate a lead or possibly even a sale. So I think that was pretty much it, Ken, on some of the quoting technology that we can certainly help get into sites that Ken would kind of build out. So I'll hand that back over to you, Ken.
Okay, so I mean, I think just to kind of review, I don't want to pound you guys with this, but I think at the end of the day, I think it's important to understand that it's 2015. You know, I think the consumer is expecting you to have a website. So once you kind of accept, okay, we got to have a website. Now the kind of thought process is, okay, well, if we have to pay for this website, we might as well build a website that helps us, makes us more efficient, tells our story, helps us with cross-selling. And I guess my point is that's kind of the first step, just to kind of understand that. That's going to help you get to where you need to get to. And I think a lot of agents in the past, they haven't thought like that. They've thought like either A, you know, I'm just going to get this billboard website, or B, I'm going to go to a company that offers all these bells and whistles, and in the end, they never use any of the bells and whistles. So where I'm going is I think in 2015 it makes sense to really have a custom-built site that tells your story, that encompasses everything, whether you have social media, whether you have some of these quoting technologies, and just being able to be nimble enough to make changes as the changes are happening. In my opinion, that's what the top agencies are doing. So I'll kind of stop the website talk with the final thought, which is, what is actually the price for not having a website? How many clients a year are you losing, and what's that cost? And usually once you start to think about that, you start to think a little differently about really, hey, should I have a site, and how should it be designed? So once you have the website, and again, I don't want to go into too much background myself because I'll talk about that in a few minutes, but my background is in the insurance industry. I used to run a company very much like URL and sold it many years back, and got into the business of building websites for insurance agents. That's all we do. And all my clients, they all ask the same thing. They say, hey, I have this website, and it's great. I use it with my clients. It gets me sales. It gets me cross sales. But how do I get more people to the website? Everyone has that desire. How do I get more traffic? And the answer I give, and I've been giving this answer since 2008, is, are you using social media? And most importantly, if you're using it, what's your strategy? So I think at this point, in 2015, I honestly can't take anyone seriously who tells me they don't like social media or it has no value for them. In my opinion, you sound very uneducated when you say something like that. And I don't mean to be nasty or blunt, but I think that's a reality. And I actually did a really good webinar for my clients about a month ago. And if anyone's still listening, and you find what I'm saying interesting, just email me after today's webinar, and I'll send you the YouTube too. It was about 12 minutes. It was called Using Social Media Like an Entrepreneur. And the whole premise of the webinar was really designed for the person who says, I don't want to use Facebook because I hate it. I just don't like Facebook. It creeps me out. I'm a private person. And that was kind of the premise of the webinar. And kind of what I said, the quick summary was, I said, look, guys, I hate Facebook too. Always have hated Facebook. I'm more private than you. I'm a very private person. But on the flip side, I learned many years ago that that's crazy to think like that. And the reason it's crazy is because Facebook is where all the traffic is. And here you guys are saying, how do I get more traffic? How do I get in front of more people for free? How do I talk to my target market? Well, what I learned is that target market, all these people, they're all on Facebook. And they're all talking. And they're talking about stupid stuff that you don't like, that they had coffee and, hey, I went to Bob's wedding, and who knows what they're talking about. To be honest, it's actually irrelevant. What is relevant, though, is that people are addicted to Facebook. Okay, and I'm kind of talking about LinkedIn as well. I mean, we can put it together. But these people are addicted to it. They're on it like 4 to 8 hours a day, and they're reading everything that's being said. And long story short, they're listening, and they're an audience. So once you start to kind of understand that, you say, well, wait a minute. Ken's telling me that I can create a social media presence for my agency. I don't have to get involved personally. And there's a lot of people on there that are paying attention. And all I have to do is figure out how to get them to pay attention to me. And if I can get them to pay attention to me, it's going to equal more money in my wallet. So once you start to kind of understand how it all works, and that these people are addicted to this thing, and all you're trying to do is take advantage of that. You're not going on there and talking about Starbucks. You're not going on there and talking about your opinion about the government. Forget all that. You're an entrepreneur. You're a great salesman. Your job is to talk to people. Your job is to tell people that you're the guru, that you're the expert. That way, people aren't coming to you to buy a commodity. They're coming to you for your expertise, right? I mean, that's what all of you guys want. That's how anyone who's ever built a successful company, you're not successful because of the product. Fact is, you don't control the product. You don't control the price. You don't control the type of product, how it's built. All you control is your expertise. And hopefully, you can get enough people running around going, hey, that guy's a genius. He helped me. He guided me to the right solution. Now you're getting referrals, right? And that's how you grow a great business, great agency. So my point is that with social media, there's 200 million Americans using it, okay? If you watch any commercials, you have to notice that all these big companies, whether it's Nike, Disney, whatever, they're all referring to their social media presence. Do you think they're doing that just for fun because they're along for the ride? No, they're doing that because they get it. They get that there's a huge traffic market there. They want to get those people paying attention to their brand. You're no different. It makes total sense for you to create a social media presence for your agency. It makes total sense to get as many of your clients as you can to be following you on social media, because that allows you, because again, they're addicted to it. They're on there every day paying attention. So if you know what you're doing, you can create a social media presence, post, a few times a week. One, that keeps you in front of your clients, which in my opinion is a no-brainer. And two, if you start to understand how social media works, you understand the viral aspect, that you can actually tap into your clients, friends, and family and actually generate referrals from it, all by spending a few minutes a day and no money out of pocket. So I think that's the best, and I'll kind of go into a little bit more detail and show you a few examples here in a few minutes. But I think once you start to understand that aspect and that philosophy behind it, that it really doesn't matter what your opinion is. If your opinion is that you don't like it, you're being stupid. You're just being stupid. You got to think like an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. What matters is there's 200 million Americans on the thing. Your job is to get in front of as many people as you can. I mean, think about it logically, guys. If I told you that you could come to my gymnasium tomorrow and that there was going to be 10,000 people standing in there and you were going to get up on stage and all they wanted to do was listen to you talk about your products and you didn't have to pay anything to stand up in front of them, would you go up and do it? Or would you say, no, I don't know. Some of those people may be jerks. Of course you're going to go up and talk in front of them. So it's the same concept. It's just kind of understanding that the platform is a little weird. And I was weirded out too, but the reality is it's year 12. Facebook's been going on for 12 friggin' years. It ain't going away. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So everyone who has a brand really needs to try to utilize it, and at the bare minimum, get their clients to follow them so that they can stay in front of their clients and keep the competition away from their clients. So that being said, let me kind of just really quick pull up an example of an independent agent that I've been helping. And this is an agent, mostly life and Medicare, maybe a little health insurance. And it's just her. And her target market, again, is kind of that 45 to 70-year-old. And what we're looking at is her Facebook page. So it's a branded page on Facebook. And all she does every day is just post insurance tips. Here was kind of a life insurance frequently asked question, just kind of about exams. And, hey, is it, can I get insurance without exams? Here was kind of a quick tip about Medicare Advantage. How do you figure out how much Medicare Advantage costs? Here was a tip on fixed annuities and why they're important. Here was kind of an overview on what a subsidy is. Here was a tip she had about Medicare Certified. Here was a tip on final expense. So each day, she's using social media as a platform to project her expertise. Is it going to change your business? No. Is it going to get you 1 million new clients? No. But does it make sense to be projecting yourself to be the expert, to trying to get in front of as many people as you can, and most importantly, driving people to your website? The first thing I said to you is, your website, social media, these are pieces to the same puzzle. And the agents and agencies that are successful with this stuff, they got the whole puzzle together. I talk to people time and time again. They say, well, I got a website, nothing's happening. I got social media, I don't know what I'm doing. These are just people with one piece in their hand. They don't have the whole puzzle together. And I think what I'm trying to say is that once you start to understand the pieces, it makes it a lot easier to put the pieces together. So that being said, I'm just going to kind of refer to Jim here for a few minutes and just let him give his perspective on how URL is using social media and just give maybe a little bit of a different perspective. But again, if anyone is interested in that one little webinar I did, it was kind of called Using Social Media as an Entrepreneur. just email me afterwards. I'd be happy to kind of send it to you. I think that it was well done and kind of really focuses on the point I was trying to hit. So, Jim, I'll turn back to you for a few minutes here.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's something maybe we can include in the follow-up too, a link to that video. I haven't seen that, but it's something that sounds interesting to me. I thought one of the most powerful things that you just said on that last slide was, there's too many people are addicted to social media to ignore its power. And I think that's really the gist of what a lot of the opportunity is. Something that we had kind of come up with a while back are some actions and some ideas on how we could take advantage of it, but also how agents could take advantage of some actions that they could take to generate some business to consumer sales. So really the first thing with social media is you give a choice between, like in the Matrix, the red and the blue pill, and you've got to take the blue pill and get wired in and make a commitment that you're going to do it. You got to sign up. It's free. Get the kind of the basics of it set up. And I don't have the current percentages, but number 2 kind of addresses the people that go on and they're kind of just lurkers. And I believe that's probably the majority of the people that use social media are just are looking and maybe clicking on links here and there, but they're not liking and they're not commenting. And I really feel like to be successful with it, if you're going to see what other people are posting, one part of that is posting things yourself and kind of getting your voice and getting those things those things going. Because if you don't participate, then no one's going to know you're there, that you're even taking part in it. The third point kind of addresses being your real voice, showing things that are important in your life. I think that social media, at least on the Facebook side, is a little more personal than say the LinkedIn. And I think when you look at maybe the insurance agent that you work with as more of a person and the regular things that happen in their life and not just a business association, then it creates a kind of a warmer relationship. And I know that's a lot of what we're about at URL, as being a family-owned business and having a lot of families that work here and those kinds of things, is we can kind of take that little bit warmer approach. And I think with something as personal as insurance can be, that it kind of goes along with it pretty well. The consistency part of that is kind of what I think Ken had kind of mentioned a little while back, is coming up with a system to where as you bring on new clients, to connect with them socially. Hey, thanks for buying this policy off me. Check out my Facebook page, share it with your friends. I'm gonna add you to my professional LinkedIn account, so you can give me referrals down the road, or just have a consistent method. I know when I go out to some kind of expo or some kind of meeting where I meet a bunch of people and I come back with a handful of business cards, one of the first things I do is sit down, I go through my LinkedIn, I find all those people, I connect with them so that I have that relationship to go back to at another time if I need the expert advice or service that person might offer. So being consistent in adding people to your network is definitely an action you can take. And I really feel, and I think Ken would agree with this, and he's going to talk about this in one of his slides, is social media isn't a place that you are online selling things all the time. Hey, call me today for a life insurance quote, or call me today and I'll get you a new Obamacare plan. It's not really about that, and I would probably never post anything like that. It really should be about setting yourself up as the expert, showing testimonials of people that have worked with you, fun and interesting things that don't even have to do with insurance, just, it's a funny cat video, and I think that's part of what social media, at least on the Facebook side, for sure needs to be, that keeps people interested, keeps you top of mind in front of your clients and their friends. And the fifth action, especially if you get, somebody finds your Facebook page and you connect and you sell them something that, they're obviously socially inclined to use social media for things. I think it's an easy ask to have them kind of give you that social referral. Hey, I'd love it if you would go online after our meeting and just give me a plug or a referral and talk about how great the process was. I know I try to practice what I preach when I talk about this. My wife and I just bought a house at the end of December, and as soon as we closed, I went online, posted a picture of the house. I tagged my real estate agent that sold our house and bought our new house. I tagged the PNC agent that I worked with that helped me insure everything. I tagged our mortgage broker who helped us finance the house. So, I gave all those referrals out. I had a couple hundred people that thought that, liked that post and that was interesting to them. So that's kind of what I mean by social referral. And people will see that and they'll look to you in the future. So I think that's kind of it on the top 5 actions you can take. If you want to flip to the next one, Ken, unless you have anything to add on that.
No, I'm good.
So yeah, yep. So the cocktail party location has changed, and basically, the way that I kind of people that are possibly fearful of getting into social media, I think the easiest way to think of it is kind of like you're at a cocktail party. You're kind of commenting here and there. You're throwing some things out. You're kind of jumping around a little bit and talking to people about how you can offer advice. Maybe you comment on something that somebody has a question. Is it excuse me? Is it can I still get an Affordable Care Act health plan? Or what's the best age to buy life insurance? And if you can comment and kind of make those little inroads here and there with people showing that you're the expert, then hopefully you've planted a seed that when the need arises with those people having those needs, then you can kind of capitalize on them. And then, if it's a social media thing, you're getting people via social media, you know that they're involved in it, kind of goes back to asking for the referral. So I try to look at least Twitter probably and Facebook as kind of, cocktail party kind of things. You pull out your wallet, show some pictures of your kids, you talk about this and that, what you do a little bit, not too salesy, not trying to hard sell anybody on anything. It's more of just planting seeds so that when the need arises for something, you're the expert that they look at and then hopefully give you a talked up referral on social media somewhere. So that's kind of what I have on that, Ken. If you want to continue on or add any comments to it.
No, I think that was great. So, guys, what I want to do now is just kind of spend about 10 minutes and just kind of review real quick my services and what I do, because I always get questions about it. And we really have 2 main services that I've been doing now for about 7 years. And again, my main site is benefitstore.net, and I'm just going to kind of quickly review our website design service and our social media management service. And obviously, if you saw any interest in today's webinar, I think that just kind of hearing what we do may give you some ideas, or maybe you'll be interested in our services. So if you're a URL broker and you do find any of this stuff interesting, just talk to Jim afterwards. URL brokers do get some discounts on our pricing. And if you're just a normal non-URL broker, please feel free to give me a call. I'd be happy to have a consultation with you. Again, my background is used to run a company that was very similar to URL, and long story short, sold it back in 2009 when healthcare reform was kind of coming, and got out of that business and started benefitstore.net. Took a few of my key employees, started benefitstore.net because I had been working with insurance agents for a long time, 10 years, helping them grow their business. I was very astute to all the technology the carriers were offering, and just felt it made sense to create a company that could kind of utilize all that knowledge. The types of people we tend to work with are definitely independent agents, small agencies who sell auto, home, and commercial, life and health, and obviously senior products like Medicare, final expense, IULs, annuities, long-term care. They come to us because they need a new website built, or maybe they have a homemade GoDaddy site or some sort of just old site that needs some life. So we redesign it. So those are the main website things. And then obviously people who understand the importance of social media, but maybe just don't have the time to do it on a day-to-day basis, they come to us for our social media management service. So our website design package is kind of unique. The first question I always get from people is they'll say, well, wait a minute, this sounds pretty good, but how much do I have to pay for you to build all this stuff for me? Because the last website I had was really expensive. And the thing I try to explain is that we're a little bit different here. We've been in the insurance industry for a long time. we understand that insurance agents don't have much trust, okay? So the one thing I'm always looking for is to build long-term relationships with my clients. I want to do business with my clients for 10 years. So to answer the question, there is no upfront cost to build you a site. Again, we have a bit of a unique model. You kind of try to sit through today's demo here, and if you're interested, I do suggest you call us or email us and, kind of chat about your scenario. And once it makes sense and you say, okay, Ken can help me have a better website or help me with social media, the next step is you go to our website, you sign up for our website package. You pay nothing. Then we set up about a 30-minute phone call with you, and we kind of talk it out. Again, I'm an insurance guy. My staff's insurance. We're insurance people. We want to learn about how you do business, how you do customer service, all the stuff I was talking about before. We want to try to figure out how can we build these guys a website that they're going to use, that's custom built around the way they do business. Because let's face it, the website shouldn't change the way you do business. It should complement you. It should make you more efficient. It should make you better. If you want to go door to door and knock on doors all day long, more power to you. I'm not telling you that's wrong, but your website should be designed to harness that, so that maybe you give people a pamphlet that they can go to your site to see that you're legitimate and that you're not some crazy guy knocking on doors. And I don't mean to be rude or obnoxious there, but I think my point is that every insurance agent does things their own way. More power to you. Doesn't mean you're not going to be successful. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be around in 5 years. I don't buy that. If you're a good salesman, you're a good salesman. But I think my point is that your website would be designed to complement how you want to do it. And that's what we try to do here. We try to figure that out by talking to you. Then we take about 1 week and we build out the site. Again, you may have to send us a few things, but we're going to do all the heavy lifting. And then at that point, we'll send it over to you. We'll go through it together. We'll fine-tune it. And usually within 2 or 3 weeks, the new website's up and running, and you're ready to go. Again, at that point, you haven't paid anything. So if you signed up today, which is January 28th, then on February 28th, you would pay your first payment. So what we've tried to do is we've tried to create an all-inclusive type thing. So the payment you make is $69.99 a month for our service. It's a month-by-month thing. You can cancel whenever you want. There's no penalty. We try to keep it real simple. But, if you do like what we offer you, you keep paying each month, this is what you get. Obviously, we build you the site. Moving forward each month, if you ever need changes to your site or even to redesign it, great. There's no cost for that. That's included. Fact is, you should be changing your site on a quarterly basis. The carriers are probably coming out with new things. There's new educational material, probably getting more testimonials. All that stuff, we expect that. We encourage changes. Our clients who make changes a lot, they're using their sites. They're with us forever. So that's included. Obviously, we host the site. We do all the SEO, the support. That's included. You will get your own mobile site. So your site will be mobile optimized. It's very important in 2015 to have that. So that means if somebody is looking at your site from a smartphone, a mobile version will open up. If you need any landing pages, that's included. If you need any fillable forms, that's no problem. This one guy, he had this private exchange, but he also had a real simple request a quote form where people could just go in and kind of request a consultation, type their name, their phone, their email, select which product they wanted, whether it was life or Medicare, and hit submit. So, we can create any types of those forms, whether it's something simple like that, or maybe you want to have a form on your site where someone can add a driver to their auto insurance policy, or something similar to that. That's the kind of stuff we can build, no problem. We do, like I said, can set you up with a private exchange, just like that guy had. We can help you get all the carrier technology. Also included is social media setup. So if you don't have these pages set up for your agency, we will get you set up. If you do have them, which you probably do, we will go in and clean them up, make them look nice for you, so that's included. And then the number one thing our current clients give us really good feedback on is each week we do these 15-minute training webinars. I was talking about the one before about using social media like an entrepreneur, where we try to teach you how to use Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, how to become an expert at that. So that's all part of our website package. To kind of just transition real quick here, what started to happen back in 2009 is we did these weekly trainings, and our clients just started to call up, and they said, hey, look, I was on that LinkedIn webinar. Man, that sounds really important for retention, but I don't have the time to do that stuff every day. I don't have time to post. I don't have time to make it look nice. Is there any way you guys can run my social media presence for me? So we kind of battled it for about a year and said, no, you really should do it yourself. But then what started to happen is a thing called search engine optimization. So it kind of ranks how your website displays on Google. They started to require you to be socially active. You know, it could actually affect your website. So we decided to come up with a service called Social Media Management. And if you go to our website, again, you'll see it down here, and it's an a la carte service. You don't have to have a website through us to sign up for it. But if you did want both the website and the social media management service, you would get our bundle package, which is our elite package, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But my point is we came out with this service to help the guys who just didn't have the time. It's really meant to be very simple. We create a Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter page for your agency. Obviously, we interview you. We learn about what products you sell, what you focus on. Then we try to help you get your clients to follow you. I talked about it in the webinar. It's so important to get your clients to follow you. I don't mean to ramble, but 10 years ago, what were the top agencies doing? They were doing email marketing, drip marketing, newsletters. They would get their clients' email addresses. They would email them once a month maybe with a newsletter. They did that because people paid attention to email. Well, as time has gone on, less people pay attention to email. They're paying attention to social media. This is a replacement for that. You want to stay in front of your clients. So we try to help you get your clients to follow you. And then the main thing we do is 5 days a week, we do the posting. We actually post insurance content for you. So common question, well, what types of stuff do you post? Well, obviously we interview you first. So if you only sell, P&C, auto, home, and maybe business, that's what we focus on. We will just post information about that. Obviously, if you're a senior product specialist, Medicare, final expense, life insurance, we'll just post about that. So it's dependent on what you do is what we'll post on. And then we try to break it down, kind of like Jim was talking about. We try to have some balance. So I would say 33% of the time, we try to promote your agency. We don't solicit products, but we let people know what you specialize in, maybe who you've helped recently, just stuff that plants the seed that you're credible and a good agency. 33% of the time, we try to project you to be an expert. So we'll post articles, updates, little tips, and I kind of tried to show you that on this one page. Here was kind of a little life insurance FAQ. And again, I'll send everyone links to these. You can look at them. Here was kind of a disability insurance fact, a Medicare basic fact. Here was kind of a thing we did on Friday. It was back when the playoffs started. It was kind of this day in NFL history. We try to have a good balance between promoting your agency, projecting you to be an expert, and then we like to post on Friday afternoons positive non-insurance things, inspirational quotes, tips on how to use social media, just things that let people know that that you're not just there to solicit them. So if you just wanted the social media management service, we have 3 pricing points. You can try it month by month, which is $65 a month, quarterly, so you sign up for 3 months, $165 a quarter, or annually, which is $500 a year. If you don't know anything about me and my services and you're interested in this, you probably want to sign up for a month. Pay the $65, get set up, see how we do for a month. If we do a great job, then you change to the quarterly or annual to save some money. If you want both the website and the social media management, then that's what our bundle package is, our elite package. So let me kind of just review again real quick. We really have 2 things we do. We have our custom designed website package, which is $69.99 a month, month-by-month contract, custom built site, no upfront cost. You sign up today, you don't pay till February 28th. We have our social media posting service. We got the monthly, quarterly, and annual pricing. And then we got that bundle package for the guys who need both the website and the social media management service. That's $115 a month. There is no free trial with that, but it does include both things. So maybe we'll take a few questions here. I'll let Jim kind of funnel them out. But what I would suggest is we're going to send you guys more information. We're going to send you links to rewatch the whole webinar. We're going to send you maybe a few examples of some of the stuff that that I've kind of gone through. But what I suggest is that if you are interested in our services and you're a URL broker, talk to Jim. He'll kind of give you an overview on some of the things that URL offers. And if you're not, shoot me an email, give me a call. I'd be happy to set up a free consultation with you. Like I said, the website services, we don't charge anything up front. So we don't build websites for anybody. We build websites for people we know we can help. And if you give us a call and we do a free consultation, I will be very blunt with you. If I can't help you, I'm sending you on your way because I'm not spending 40 hours building you something that you're not going to pay for. And I think that's the best thing you guys could ever hear. Because at the end of the day, we do want to do business with people for 10 years. That's how we're successful. So, Jim, why don't you kind of come back on? Maybe if we have any questions here, we can kind of go through them. And if not, obviously send these people more information.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so anybody that's on that has a question, I saw one come through here. If you have one, please fill out the question thing, and I'll read it aloud, and Ken and I'll kind of answer it for you. As Ken mentioned, I know there's some of the brokers that work with us currently on the call today. Give me a call if you're interested. There is some discounted pricing if you are a partner of URLs, and if not, we'd certainly like you to become a partner. I have a little poll here I'm going to launch too, if everybody would like to take part in that, and just to get a sense of everybody on here today. If you use social media for business, so everybody left on the call. If you do use social media, click yes on the screen. If you don't, go ahead and click no. And while that's going, I will go ahead and read one of the questions that came across. It was a little earlier from William. And he appears to be new in the business and asks, how do you make it appear as though you have been around for a while if you just started out and don't have a lot of client testimonials?
Well, I'll let Jim answer, but I'll give my quick 2 cents.
Sure.
I think at the end of the day, my opinion is you are what you are and don't hide from it. Be honest with people, because once you start trying to create an illusion of things, it's going to lead to probably a non-successful business plan. If you're new, you can be upfront with people, but show them your energy, show them your heart, you'll do okay.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think the thing that I can think about going back is in building it is kind of what I talked about, being consistent. When you sit with a client and it works out successfully, I mean that's could potentially be your first testimonial. So that's how I would kind of approach it. I'm new to the industry. I'm really trying to get going. I'm trying to build a good rapport with everybody that I work with, and your testimonial would be very helpful. And if not, I think it could go back to some of the other things, Ken, that you mentioned about showing different things on your site that shows credibility, areas where people can find out about the Affordable Care Act or find out about fixed annuities and how they work, and showing those kind of things on the site. So I don't have any other questions here.
Okay. Well,
if anybody else has anything, feel free to send it on. If not, okay, here was one from Catherine. So she's new to the industry. Do you have any percentage of increase in business by investing in a website?
No, I don't. I don't know how I would come up with that type of formula. But I think at the end of the day, I think, to be honest, what I've learned from a long time is if you're still not sure that you need a website, then don't get one. I think you want to be at the point where you realize that because I guess the best way to put it is a website is a commitment. It's a responsibility. The people that are successful with their websites, they use them. They understand the value. They understand what it brings. They put time into it. They're making changes. The people that really don't understand why they need one or how it works, they tend to kind of not use it and forget about it, and then they ask themselves if it's even worth it. So I think just my thought is until you start to realize how much it's costing you by not having a website, I wouldn't invest in one. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and that goes back to a note that I had wrote here, Ken, on the prior slide when you're kind of talking about the pricing and how the things work. There's traditionally kind of been really one way that websites have worked in the past, and if you wanted one, and it was you pay a large upfront fee, you go back and forth with the designer, and then then there's hosting fees every month or yearly, then there's maintenance fees when you want to do changes. When we really researched a partner that we wanted to work with, I thought Ken's model was very unique. I mean, my background is in graphic design, web and print, and those were really the models of how things work. You had a big upfront fee, you had monthly maintenance charges, maybe yearly maintenance charges for hosting. I thought Ken's model was awesome for people that are new to getting into websites and small business people that maybe don't have the money to commit to a large upfront fee and ongoing costs for changes and things like that. I thought Ken being coming from the insurance industry, kind of having a different model than everybody else, I thought that it was a fantastic thing, and it has been for years. And many of the brokers that work with us that use it are successful with it. So that's
yeah. And just to add to that, I think
yeah,
and I agree with you, Jim, and that's why I did the model like that. But I think the biggest thing to think about is let's say someone says, oh, well, did you know that Cousin Bobby, he builds websites? He'll help you build a website, but he's going to charge you. So you go to Cousin Bobby, and the reality is you're going to have to sit there and think about every aspect of the site and have him build it, whether it's Cousin Bobby or it's Joe the computer guy in town. And they charge you per hour kind of for that. And that's just like Jim said, that's the old model where you go to somebody, you got to tell them how to build it, and then they say, okay, it's going to be 20 hours at $75 an hour. Your website's going to be boop boop boop, like $1,400. So then after 3 months, you get the website, and who knows if it's any good because it's the first one you've ever built. Who knows if it's going to help you? Whereas if you come to us, it's a different mentality. We're desperately figuring out how can we work with this guy for 5 years so we can be profitable off him. The only way we're going to do that is to really process him and build him something that he gets hooked on, that he actually uses, and he says, $70 a month, this thing's worth $500 a month to me. So, I don't mean to ramble on, but I think that those are the things you got to think about when you go down that road. Is, do I even know what I want? And if I don't know what I want, who can help me with that? And that's kind of why URL kind of found us, because we understand insurance and we understand the carriers, and that's part of the value we bring. We're not yes men. We're here to partner with you and obviously build something that's going to help you. So anyway, we've rambled on enough. All right.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
So Catherine had a follow-up to that. If if she was starting a new independent insurance business, would having a website be a good thing to launch around that same time? And I would say that almost gives you some instant credibility that you have a site, you have a social setup, and you have the basis for what a good agency has.
Absolutely.
I think Ken would probably agree with that. And then William's got a question. I know we're kind of getting down to the last minute here. He asked about Google charging fees for placement. How do you deal with that? And I would answer that by, there's kind of two ways you get placed on Google. One is organically by the things that Ken does to your site, that getting the keywords on there of where you live and the lines of products that you sell and those kinds of things. And Google will find you without having to pay anybody. And the better your site has those words that people use to search, the higher you show up. I think, William, what you're referring to being charged for placement are for the Google AdWords ads that people are actually placing on there. And those are the ads that are the first, usually 3 results or so, and the ads that come up on the side. And those are paid ads, which, Ken, I don't think you really don't get into too much of that paid advertising, right?
No, we try to offer training on it and just make sure we guide people so they don't blow, they don't spend a lot of money on it and get no results. But yeah, I mean, the Google pay-per-click ads can be good, but it's complicated. You got to know what you're doing.
Sure, and that's that's a thing that I'm not very dangerous on, and if somebody would want to do that and came to me, I would refer them to a professional that's in and doing that all day long, because it's really a specialized kind of thing. I think that wraps up the questions. We certainly appreciate everybody's time. We're right now at 4 o'clock Eastern, and that's about the time we had scheduled for today. So this is recorded. We will send a follow-up email with my contact information along with Ken and Benefit Store, and we hope bringing some of these tools to you can help you be more profitable in 2015, and we look forward to working with you, as I'm sure Ken does as well.
I appreciate everyone's time. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Everybody.